Despite efforts to fix my mouse, it's now time to replace the Microswitch on my Logitech Performance MX mouse. But this is not a soldering lesson and I didn't use this soldering gun. So I know what the problem was. Just a lot of clicking. After meddling with the piece inside the Microswitch, it finally broke off, and here's the piece that broke off. Here's the old Microswitch. I'm replacing my left click. If you don't know how to take the body off your mouse, check my other video linked in the description. Here is the new Microswitch. There is the part number that you can go ahead and order from Amazon. I went ahead and ordered a whole bag. What I used for this is a desoldering iron. This project actually convinced me to buy a new soldering kit with some helping hands. I picked this whole kit up on Amazon for 28 bucks. You'll find a link in the description. So here is the Microswitch. Let's take this thing apart. First, there's this piece that you have to slip out in order to get the wheel off. Just pop that right out and save it. And the whole wheel mechanism should pop right off. Next, you'll want to take out the screws on the front, but don't forget the two springs in front. Be careful you don't lose them. So take out the two front screws, a screw on the left. What we're going to do is we're going to take apart the whole circuit board off so we can get to the bottom of it. So the two screws back by the battery. There are two screws that are holding a black plastic piece that were supporting the wheel. You can go ahead and slip those off and set aside. Screw to the right side of the battery. And your whole circuit board should be pretty loose at this time. So there's a little black piece that you can slip out to separate that ribbon. You're going to want to do that. So using the desoldering iron, you'll want to go ahead and get the solder on the back of the board hot, and then you can go ahead and suck that solder out. There's also a wick you could use to pull the solder off. Get it really clean so it's easier to pull the Microswitch out. I went ahead and cleaned it up, did a few times around, and actually needed some helping hands to get this Microswitch out. We ended up prying it out with a little screwdriver and some help with some trusty pliers. There we go. It is out and it's ready for the new Microswitch. So you can go ahead and take the new Microswitch, make sure it's oriented the correct way, and just slip it into the three holes. Okay, now freeze. You remember at the beginning, this isn't going to be a soldering lesson, so right now you perform your soldering magic. What I think will work best is heating the actual little rods and then melting the solder onto the hot metal that's already there. There are tons of tutorials out there on how to solder. I recommend them. So now for putting it all back together. Just slip the circuit board back on. And make sure all the wires underneath are tucked into their nooks and crannies like they're supposed to. That wire ribbon should slip in and that black piece slip in to hold it in place. Make sure it's in there nice and tight. And go ahead and start putting your screws back in. What I ended up having to do was to loosen the screws a little bit and then finagle the wires under there so they would fit in their proper place. So just did some adjusting and I finally got it to sit where it's supposed to be sitting. And then just tighten the screws all the way. And remember to put the springs back before you put the wheel back on. You can put the black plastic thing back on. That should be under the mouse wheel as you reinstall it. And then the mouse wheel just goes right on top of those springs and that black thing. Make sure everything is seated properly, and then take your black plastic and just stick it back in where it came from. Be sure to test the wheel and make sure everything works before you put the body back on. Hopefully this video helped you out. Let me know if you like it by pressing the like button below, and if you'd like to see more videos from me, click subscribe. If you're not into the soldering thing, check out my other video and you can probably fix your Microswitch on your own. Happy fixing!